Hey, Vincy, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, Penny. I think my headset died. Can you hear me here? Hey, Reese. What you doing, Bubba? Can you hear it now? What you doing, Reese? Give me loves. Mwah. 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 Hey, Miss Penny. How are you? Welcome to the crazy house. Hey, Princess. How are you, darling? Normally, I've been talking on this, which is my phone for work, and it died apparently. And then Vincey has my little boyfriend who is he 2 yet? He should be about 2. And then Ori, aka Nina, has a princess that I have to stop and talk to. But anyways, that went dead, so I'm using my backup, which already broke. My backup headset, so I'll have some mouth, which is all I need here. 3 now. Wait. What? Huh? He can't be 3. He can't be 3. No. He's only 2, barely. Jeez Louise. Oh, try to get some people out here. Jody will be on here, I'm sure. 3 going on 30. I have a I have one 6-year-old that's going on 16. I have another 6-year-old who's going on 26. And I have a 7-year-old that is, I don't know. I think he's married with kids now and setting up home somewhere. All righty. Love, love, love these covers. Ugh. I was looking at the rest of the books and I'm just like, ugh. the 8th. Dang. I believe he's already 3. Well, that's okay. My niece, my brother's little girl, is 20 today. 20. Yeah, that's where a lot of this came from, y'all. Just for the record, this is natural. So, Nina, you might want to tell Princess to look at my hair because this is it. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while before I start coloring it again. I'm gonna let it grow out and see what happens, and maybe if I can. I mean, I'm not growing it out. I just want to see what it's gonna look like all the way. All right, we ready to get started? Ooh, we're a minute late. Oh, you sound like my brother. He's got, his oldest is 20 and his youngest is 6. So, yeah. Not quite as bad as different as yours, but his is all with the same baby mama, though. I don't know if you got the same baby daddy or not. Ah, yes. Well, the 6 and 7-year-old brothers that I have, their mama is kind of like my adoptee. I unofficially adopted her when she was born, and my parents raised her for the first 4 years of her life, and then her mama took her back and about screwed everything up. And now I got her back, and she's 26. So, yeah. All right, ready? For the Love of Flowers. For the Love of Book 1. So, looking out the window of the warehouse, I wonder once more how I've ended up here. But then again, this is the life I've been born into. Moving my eyes, I catch the reflection of the room behind me, and I'm back to the reality of the situation. One moment, y'all. I have too many medications that like to dry my mouth out, which is why I sound like I'm hoarse. Now, yesterday, the smoke and stuff coming from Canada. I live in Georgia, and the smoke and stuff coming from the wildfires in Canada and out west or wherever, I can't even keep up with them. They all, I mean, I was sneezing and snot factory is what I like to call it. Okay. Turning to, let's see. Moving my eyes, I catch the reflection of the room behind me, and I'm back to the reality of the situation. Turning to face the man tied to the chair, I unbutton my suit jacket to reveal the butt of my gun nestled in its holster under my arm. Walking over to the man, stealing my face so that the disgust and fear I feel about myself doesn't show. He knows his future by the scared look in his eyes and the tears running down his face. Okay, Tony, let's start at the beginning, shall we? What the fuck did you say to the cops? Staring at him, I wonder if he'll get the truth or if he'll lie, hoping to save his ass. Nothing, Lorenzo. I swear I said nothing, he pleads. I pull my gun so that Tony can see it. Come on, Tony. No more lies. Nothing will change the outcome of tonight, so tell me the truth. I'm playing with voices, by the way. I walk back and forth in front of Tony, making sure that my gun is always visible. He knows tonight that he'll die regardless of what he says, and I need him to remember this so we get to the truth. All right, I didn't like that first voice. Let's see. Lorenzo, please listen to me. I didn't tell him anything. I'm not that stupid. I stop in front of him and strike him across the face, causing it to snap to the side. When he faces me again, I see that I've split his lip and a slight trickle of blood drips down his chin. Hey, Jody Lou Who? Tony, we saw the cops going into your fucking restaurant, and then lo and behold, one ship gets fucking raided. Luckily, it was a decoy. Now, I won't ask again. What the fuck did you say? A sob leaves Tony's mouth and his shoulders slump on a sigh. I'll get some answers. Okay, I talked to a Detective Johnson and mentioned looking at some ships due in, but I swear I mentioned no names. They got lucky. I'm so sorry. Please let me go. I walk back to the window and stare out again across the water at the Manhattan skyline, dreaming for a second that this isn't my life. Taking the safety on my taking the safety on my gun, I turn to face Tony and fire. My aim is perfect, hitting him head dead center and killing him. I turn back to look out over the water again and allow a single tear to run down my cheek. I'm thankful I did this part alone. It won't take someone long to spot the pause in my step after he mentioned Detective Johnson's name. If anyone sees that, then questions will get asked. There's no way I will answer those questions. Some secrets need to remain that secrets. I put my gun back into the holster, pull out my cell, and hit speed dial. The call answers almost immediately. Dad is done, I say while buttoning my suit jacket. He stated he mentioned no ship names, and I believe him. Maybe the cops got lucky this time. A cleanup crew is needed. No, a cleanup crew is needed. Before asking the next bit, I pause. I don't know how Dad will react to the request. Maybe this time the family can have the body. It would send a message making sure no one else talks. You did good, Lorenzo, as I knew you would. I'll send in the cleanup crew in 10 minutes. Please wait until they arrive. Will do. Will there be anything else tonight? No, my son. You've done enough. Go home and relax. I wish Dad good night, hang up, and resume my position looking out of the window. This room in the Brooklyn dockyards is so familiar to me now. It's where I come for all my talks. It's an unused factory, and the rundown appearance makes it inconspicuous. It's also far enough away from civilization that gunfire can't be heard, but this place is also my personal piece of hell. Looking at the cells still in my hand, I make another call. Pick up 10 minutes. I don't wait for a reply. 10 minutes later, the cleanup crew arrives and gets to work. As they remove Tony's body, I toss, take him to his family. To no one in particular. Yes, boss, someone replies. I hide my shutter and walk and make my way out of the building, leaving them to remove all traces that I've ever been there. Stopping, I look across the expanse of the building, thinking how noisy it must have been at one point today. At one point. Today, it's a room full of dust and secrets. I sigh and continue to make my way down the steps to the door in front of me. I open it to the black Mercedes C-Class that awaited me. I open the back door and sit, still not relaxing, and wait for the inevitable. Evening, boss. Evening, boss. All set. There it is again, the word boss. Yeah, Frank, everything's all set. Cleanup is in there, and they have instructions to take Tony's body to the family. The look of surprise on Frank's face isn't lost on me, but I look him in the eye, and my reply shocks him even more. Those those that talk to cops must know the consequences, regardless if they say nothing. Giving Tony back to the family sends a message. He was good, but he talked to the cops. Understand, boss. Again, that damn word. It's harder to hide my shutter in a car. Are we taking you home or do you need a drink? Home, Frank. The car moves and we head towards the Williamsburg Bridge, East Village, and home. I let my head fall back against the leather seats and close my eyes. I would love to talk to Frank and ask about his day, but that's something not done in this family. Employees aren't friends. The silence is almost deafening. My emotions are all over the place. I don't like this life, never have, but it's not a life I can leave. From the moment I was born, I've been prepped to take over the family business, like Dad did and his dad before him. I must get out somehow. Otherwise, I'll join Tony, especially if my family finds out my biggest secret. Looking out the window, I see that we're halfway across the bridge. Home isn't too far away, and I can breathe. 5 minutes later, we turn onto First Avenue, and a few minutes after that, we turn onto East 10th, and I can spot my apartment building halfway down the block. Frank pulls up outside the building, and I look around to make sure no one is about, or no one in particular, even though he works nights. Thanks, Frank, I say over my shoulder. Till next time, boss, he replies, and I swear to God, Frank is testing me with that bloody word again. I stand on the sidewalk until the car is out of sight and look at my building. I love this place. It's an old red brick building. Y'all, I just love rubbing my hair. And I scratch my head all the time. I don't have cooties, I promise. It's just something I do. I love this place. It's an old red brick building with a beautiful stone arch over the doorway and wrought iron fire escapes that cling to the facade. I walk up the front steps and dig out my keys to let myself into the building. I make my way to the second floor and my front door. Only here do I stop and let myself breathe for the first time in what feels like hours. Looking at the two B letters on the front of the slick black door, I put the key into the lock and make my way inside. The apartment opens into a little hallway that contains the oak side table and key bowl where I put my keys. I walk a little further into the main room, which is an open floor plan with the kitchen to the back of the room with its black marble worktops and stainless steel appliances. Beyond that is the living area and the exposed brick wall to the left, which is my favorite feature. The settee faces that wall for that reason, even though I placed a 55-inch TV in the middle of the space. I have a 60-inch. What? Okay, no, don't want that turn on. Stop. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, back to Reese. Beyond that is the living area and the exposed brick wall to the left, which is my favorite feature. The settee faces that wall for that reason, even though I placed the 55-inch TV in the middle of the space. Beyond that are large windows that look out to the village, which will only now be coming alive. As I look at my watch and realize it's 2 o'clock in the morning, turning to the right, I walk down the hall to the two bedrooms and take the first one on the left and make my way into the master bedroom that also has the ensuite bathroom. The simple king size bed takes up most of the room with enough space for oak bedside tables on each side. Goodness, I wished I could jump into that bed and snuggle under the fluffy blankets, but I need a shower to wash away this evening before I can even think about sleeping. Walking into the walk-in closet, I turn on the light and take off my suit jacket, pants, and tie and hang them up. I place my white shirt and underwear in the laundry. Looking behind me, I sigh a little, wishing someone were home and not working nights. Leaving the closet naked, I make my way to the only other door in the bedroom, which leads to the bathroom. The room is white except for the black towels that hang on the rail. The shower cubicle is straight in front of me and is big enough to hold two people. It's one of the major reasons we chose this apartment. Looking at the shower brings back memories of this morning, and I feel the smile spread across my face, and my cock gets hard. Turning on the shower, I set it to the right temperature and wait a few minutes before stepping inside. The water falls over my body, washing away the shame of the evening. I, I press my hands on the wall in front of me and tilt my head down to let the soothing water wash over my shoulders and run down my back, easing away the stress. I look down to see that my cock is still hard. I take it in my hand, remembering the morning, stroking it with even pressure. It doesn't take long for my breathing to increase and my balls to tighten, and I come all over my hand. I feel myself relaxing. I finish washing up and turning off the shower, drying myself off before walking back into the closet to get myself some sleep shorts. Climbing in bed on my side, I lean over and inhale, smelling my favorite scent in the world, and cuddle down. Closing my eyes, soon the blackness of sleep takes over. Chapter 2, WYATT. I'm thinking of another male voice. You all right, White? See, all mine come out country. You all right, White? Sitting up, I look over to Liam, my long-suffering partner. Yeah, I'm good. This case is getting to me. Just want us to catch a break. Liam and I've been working this drug case for months, and all we seem to do is go around in circles. Leaning back in my chair, I wipe my hand over my face and sigh. Every lead we've had hits a dead end. I had thought the information we got from Tony would be the breakthrough we needed. I had thought we would get the right ship this time, but all we find is the fucking flowers destined for some wholesale company. Even the company comes up clean. I had also checked that out in an act of desperation. We'll get there, right? We'll get a lead. We need some patience. I hope you're right. Oh, God, I hope you're right. I pull over the case notes and look at them again. For what feels like the 1,000th time, drugs are getting into the city somehow, and it's via the dockyards. It must be a ship, but all the ones we've gotten tips for come up blank. Maybe we need to take another visit to Tony, see if we can get him to talk more. I said to Liam. Maybe, but that will be tomorrow night, Liam replies. The answers about this case lie with the Romano family. I have no idea how. How can you be so sure? Why? We've checked. They're clean. It's a feeling I have, I tell him. Why? You need to drop the Romanos. We have nothing concrete on them. You're going to get into trouble if you keep that up. I know, Liam, I know, but I cannot shake this feeling. I've been in the narcotics department for close to 3 years now, and I've been working with Liam for most of that time. This must be one of the toughest cases we've had to deal with, and was causing us some major headaches. The drugs have been coming into the city for decades, but we've only been investigating for a few months after a new lethal strength of drug has hit the street. Let's look at the files again, Liam, and see if we can get some dates to link up. I pull over the case files and look up the date of the first recorded death 6 months ago. I then pull up the docking records for ships that arrived 3 months before that. I'm hoping that I recognize the ship, but the only name that keeps popping up is the Fiore Rosso. But that ship has been checked twice, each time it comes up clean, containing flowers for the wholesaler. However, the dockyard logs show that ship coming in at least once a month. Hey, Liam, you don't think the flowers are a front, do you? I ask. Nope. On the times they checked it, it not only contained flowers but roses, he answers. Don't you think it's strange that it always comes in from South America? I'm asking questions now, aloud now because I already know the answer. No, White. Rose farms in South America are some of the best in the world. Chuckling to myself, I must ask, do I want to know how you know that? No, you don't, Liam smiles to himself. With your connections, surely this is something you should know. I give him a slight smile, knowing he's right. Hey, let's hit the streets, ask some questions. You never know, we might get lucky. We make our way to the basement of the police headquarters where the car park is based. We make our way over to the black Cherokee. The department wanted to try using more SUVs, so that I'm the lucky one and it's a standard. The only downside, we stand out, especially in some areas we go to. Shotgun! Liam shouts at me, pointing to the driver's seat. Really? You know that's for getting into the passenger seat. I reply, smiling at him, but still throwing him the car keys. I know, but I wanted to change up the rules. What do you think? What are you thinking? The Bronx? Yeah, it's where most of the heroin ends up these days, I reply. We take about 30 minutes to get to the Bronx, talking about the case as we travel the streets of New York. We bounce ideas off each other, but my gut tells me that the Fioroso ship is essential. I keep this thought to myself. Liam will think I'm crazy considering it has already been checked. Once we get to the Bronx, we park and take to the streets, making our way to a local park about 2 blocks away. We always park away from our intended destination and walk the local street. It's incredible what we hear. We always try to blend in and listen to the groups talking. Most of the people are gossiping, but as we pass a group of 4 guys, we hear, drop in the park, meet in 15 minutes. We shoot each other a quick look, but say nothing and keep walking. 15 minutes later, we're at the local park, hiding in the shadows. We keep a lookout for the people coming and going and spot the guys from earlier. They make their way to a bench off the left and sit. They look like a regular group out to chill and drink, but the 5th person arrives and keeps looking around and checking over his shoulder. I look over to Liam. We need no communication. We nod and wait for the guy to reach the group. Once there, he sits and it looks like he's joining friends, but we know differently. 5 minutes later, we watch him as he looks around and digs out a packet from his pants pocket, keeping it enclosed in his hand to keep it hidden. The guy next to him goes into his pocket and pulls out what I'm guessing is money, but we need the exchange to happen before we make our move. Looking at Liam, I signal for him to go after the dealer while I go after the other guys. The only one we can arrest is the person who takes possession of the drugs, but the waiting pays off as the late arriver rises from his seat and turns to shake hands with the guys next to him, and the exchange takes place. We make our move. We come out of our hiding place shouting, "Police, don't move!" as expected. The dealer makes a run for it, and Liam chases after him. The 4 guys have also run in different directions, but I have my eye on the one who took possession of the drugs. I'm bigger and faster than him, so I catch up to him, grabbing him by the shirt. You guys always run, I say as I twist his arms behind his back, pulling out my handcuffs and read him his rights. When he's secure, I pat him down and hope that he hasn't thrown away the evidence as opposed to stuffing it in his pants in a panic. I'm in luck for a change. As I get to his pants pocket, I feel the packet. Pulling it out, it's a little bag containing a white powder, which will be heroin once it's confirmed by the lab back at the headquarters. Come on, let's get moving, I say. We're taking a little trip downtown. What's your name? I ask, hoping that I'll get a straight answer. Fuck off, pig, he replies. So, it's like that. I stay not surprised by his response. We'll get his name once we process him at the station. We normally take him to the local precinct, but because of the case, we'll take him to headquarters. Liam is already at the park entrance as we get there, not looking at all happy. Sorry, WYATT, he got away. It's okay, Liam, we got one, I say, pointing to the guy in handcuffs. That's not too bad. Do you want to get the car? It's not a great idea to walk this one through the streets. No problem, Liam says, nodding in agreement. I'll be 5 minutes. I watch as Liam jogs off in the car's direction, and I turn to the perp, looking him over. He doesn't jump out at being the regular user we pick up. His clothes are clean, and he looks quite smart. There are no dark circles under his eyes, so either this is his first time or he's a new user. I hope to God it's the first time. We might have saved his life. You don't look like a normal user. Things will go a lot better if you cooperate, I say to him. Fuck you, he spits back at me. Rolling my eyes, he's not the first and won't be the last person to talk to me like that. In all honesty, it's water off a duck's back. Spotting the car coming around the corner, I walk the guy to the curb. Once it's parked in front of me, I open the back door and sit him inside, knowing that once the door closes, it can only get unlocked from the outside. Making my way to the passenger seat, once I'm settled, Liam pulls out to make the journey back to headquarters. So, is he talking? Liam asks, but the look in his eyes tells me he knows what I'll say. Just the normal shit, I reply with a smile on my face while looking at the guy in the rearview mirror. Once back at the police headquarters, we enter the processing entrance and hand our guy off to the on-call sergeant. Let us know when he's finished. Will do, detective. Liam and I make our way to our desk to fill out the paperwork that comes with an arrest. All too soon, the desk phone rings. Detective Johnson. Detective, your guy's all ready for you. Thanks, Sergeant. We'll come and get him. Looking over to Liam, I smirk and say, come on, it's showtime. Nina Boehner, you need to go check KU and look at the covers. Oh, they're gorgeous. Chapter 3, Lorenzo. The loud beeping noise rudely draws me from my sleep, and I lean over to hit the off button before it wakes the gorgeous man sleeping next to me. God only knows what time he got to bed. Leaning over to look at his face, I gently ease some hair from his forehead. He's the most handsome man I know, and I hope that if he ever finds out everything about me, he'll still love me. With that thought in my head, I take a deep breath and get out of bed so I can get ready for another day at work. Once showered, I dress in simple black trousers and a white shirt. Nothing over the top, but something that says professional and approachable. Walking back into the bedroom, I go over to the sleeping man in the bed and give him a kiss on the forehead, whispering. Just as I'm about to leave the bedroom, I hear the faintest, "Bye, gorgeous," before sleep retakes him. Oh my gosh, that For the Love of the Teacher, that cover. The guy's got black glasses on in the suit. Oh my gosh. Walking back into the bedroom, making my way into the kitchen, I put the coffee machine on, making myself some much needed caffeine and some toast for my breakfast. 10 minutes later, I grab my bag and leave the apartment, starting my 15-minute walk to work. I've always loved this time of day when the streets are relatively quiet, the city hasn't quite come to life, and the promise of a new day is still ahead. The walk is over all too quickly. Soon, I'm standing outside Romano's Flowers, the family florist that I run. I love this shop so much with its glass front and the shop name in simple black letters at the center. I wanted a simple shop front so the flowers could talk for themselves. Unlocking the front door, the smell of flowers hits me, and I can't help but smile. I love that smell. Walking to the back of the shop, I get to the counter and walk behind it, placing my bag on the shelf. Reaching behind me, I pick up my apron from a hook on the wall and place it over my head and tie it at the back. I pull out my diary from my bag, checking what orders I need today before setting up the shop. I make sure all the flowers are still fresh and remove any that might have died or had deadheads. The first bouquet is for an old lady's birthday, and her daughter has requested pink roses and lilies. I choose 5 open and 6 closed lilies and 5 roses combined with the eucalyptus foliage. That's my greenery of choice. It stands out against so many flowers. I pull all this together with the clear cellophane and tie it with a pink bow. I carefully pour in some water and it's ready for collection. I'm looking at the flowers with a satisfied smile on my face. I created something that will bring joy to someone else. And that's one of the main reasons I genuinely love my job. The ringing of the shop phone pulls me out of my thoughts. Good morning, Romano's Flowers. How can I help you? I think I got his and Wyatt's voices mixed up. Good good morning, Lorenzo. Just like that, my good mood vanishes and my heart sinks as I recognize the voice on the other end as one of our couriers. What is today's order? I make no pretense of being polite. I want this call to be over already. Dozen red roses to Upstate and 2 dozen yellow roses to Brooklyn. Okay, we'll get it organized. I hang up the phone without even saying goodbye. Picking up a different diary from the shelf, I open it to today's date and write in the order. It's how I keep track of the product movement and what areas are doing better than others. If anyone is to look at the book, it will look like a typical flower delivery. No one will realize it's heroin going out to the city's dealers. I make a call on my cell that gets answered within 2 rings. A long time ago, I refused to make the drop myself, but would be the point of contact. My plan was always to leave at some point. I never meant this to be my life. All I've ever wanted to create, all I've ever wanted is to create flowers and live with my man. Good morning, boss. Oh, that name again. I wish they would call me by my name. Dad is the boss, not me. Today's order is, I repeat the order given to me. Okay, a drop will be made tonight. The phone call ends, and with a sigh, I have a quick look through the diary. I make a mental note of where all the drops are going now to see if any places are requesting more than usual. Picking up my cell, I open the contacts and make the call to Dad, who answers on the first ring. Lorenzo. No good morning or how are you? 2 orders today, kilo for Upstate and 2 kilos for Brooklyn. It looks like there's more going to Brooklyn now. We need to monitor that. We don't want too much going on. Why am I having such a hard time reading that tonight? All right. It looks like there's more going to Brooklyn now. We need to monitor that. We don't want much going on there. It would draw attention. Thank you, Lorenzo. You might be right about Brooklyn. We have to make sure we stay ahead of the cops. The ships getting raided are a worry. I'm sure the drops get reduced in Brooklyn without affecting the business, I tell him. I'll make sure the drops get reduced in Brooklyn without affecting the business. I tell him, knowing that the answer he wants to hear. Good. The call disconnects. I'm not surprised that Dad doesn't say goodbye. If it weren't for Mom, Dad would see me as another employee. For Mom, family has always come first, and as the firstborn, I must follow into the family business. My brother, thankfully, doesn't want to share this fate as he managed to escape and become a teacher. Oh, yeah? I've never been jealous that my brother doesn't have to follow me. He gets to live a life he deserves. But I also know my family will never accept me if they know I'm gay. I dread to think what will happen if they also find out I'm living with a man. One day I'll have to tell them, but it scares me. I don't know how long I can keep living a lie. Something will give at some point, or I'll lose the man I love or my family, and maybe even both. Shaking my head to stop the train of thoughts, I turn back to the shop diary, look at the next order, and roll my eyes. The order is for a dozen roses to be tied with a red ribbon. If only the customer who had ordered these flowers realized the irony of it all. Last chapter. It's getting too much for me here. Chapter 4, Wyatt. For some reason, this case is getting to me. I'm missing a vital connection, but something in my gut tells me I won't like the link when I find it. But it doesn't stop me from doing my job. I need to find out how heroin is getting into the city. I hope the interview with the perp will help. Sitting across from the suspect, who now looks scared shitless, I try to get some answers. Okay, let's try it again. What's your name? I ask him. Fuck you! You're scared out of your mind and you're still giving me an attitude. Looking at him, I changed my tactic. Look, we got you for possession, whatever you say, but I don't recognize your face. You're either from out of town or a new user. If you give us your name and some information, I might be able to help. If not, you're looking at jail time. This seems to work. The suspect deflates in front of me, and I think we'll get some helpful information. Paul Thomas. That wasn't so hard, was it? Now, Paul, let's have the story, shall we? Look, this is the first time I've ever done this. I needed something to get me through. Through what? I think I know what's coming. 12 months ago, I was in a car accident and the doctor prescribed me some painkillers, but they aren't enough. They aren't working anymore. I cannot deal with the pain anymore. A friend, and no, I'm not giving you a name, said to try smoking heroin. It's the same as the painkillers, but stronger, he explains to me. I'd heard the stories in the news about this type of thing, but this is the first time I see it face to face. No wonder this guy doesn't look like a typical user. At the end of this, I'll give some harsh lessons and send him on his way. Hopefully, I don't run into him again. First, I need the answer I'm desperate for. Go on. Paul thinks for a second, deciding what to say. My friend gave me a number to call, told me to say I wanted an ounce. As my first time, that should be enough to ease the pain, so that's what I did. Paul then surprises the hell out of me by saying the one thing I've been thinking. I need that number. Look, you said you would help me. The only information I have is the number. I didn't get any names, just told to say what I wanted and leave a number and wait for a call back. Will you give me the number? I keep my fingers crossed. Yes. I take the number and leave the interview room, heading straight to Liam to briefly explain everything. Liam knows what I'm thinking. I'll call and make an order. Let's see if we get a break. I'm going back to the... Oh, that was him. I'll call and make an order. Let's see if we get a break. I'm going back to the interview room. Come get me once you've made the call. As I turn to make my way back, an idea hits me. You got those files with the photos of users we might use in the drug talks? The photos are before and after images. We use them to show the effects drugs have on the body. It can be a powerful tool. I hope they might scare Paul into rethinking his decision. Liam hands over the file with that damn knowing smile of his. You're going to let him go, aren't you? Yep. I make my way back to the interview room. Once I sit back in front of Paul, I stay silent, and it's all for the dramatic effect. I want him to stew for a while, to think he's in more trouble than he is. It's all part of my attempt to make sure he doesn't end up in front of me again. I hope you gave us the right number and you aren't stringing us along, especially with the entire accident story. The story he's given us is genuine. There's truth in his eyes. I promise, detective, everything I've told you is the truth. Just call the number, Paul pleads. Believe me, Paul, we plan to. Right on cue, there's a knock on the door. Liam pops his head in. Detective, can I see you out here for a moment, please? Be right back. Don't move, Paul. Outside the room, I can tell by the look on Liam's face that I won't like what he tells me. Dead end again. The cell was disconnected. I sent the number to the tech team to get a trace, but I think it'll be a burner cell. You have to be kidding me. This case is going to kill me. The hope I've been feeling is snuffed out. Liam nods his head. They must have thrown it away after the bus last night. They probably saw us arresting that guy. Yeah, they'll have a new cell by now, and we're back to square one. I'll finish the interview. Then let's go over what we have and see if we've missed anything. Making my way back into the interview room, I take my seat opposite Paul. The number you gave us was a dead end, I tell him, and his reaction doesn't let me down as the color drains from his face. I swear to God that was the number I called yesterday, Paul states, shaking as panic takes hold. Seeing the panic on Paul's face, I decide that it's time to stop the charade. Opening the file, I bring out 3 photos and slide them over to Paul. I know, Paul. It was a burner cell that's already disconnected. They probably witnessed your arrest and got rid of the cell, knowing you would likely give us the number. I explain. Paul relaxes and looks down at the 3 photos in front of him. He looks up at me with a confused look on his face. Who are these people? I have no idea who they are. I only called that cell number. Oh, I know, but I want you to take a close look at these people. They look like good people, don't you think? I ask. Paul nods his head, still very confused. I then bring out the next 3 photos. Paul looks over and his eyes widen with surprise. They aren't pleasant photos to look at, but I hope the point gets across. What's this? Paul finally asks. This is what will happen if you go down the path you started tonight. These people were the same as you. Good people who have had a bum deal. Sadly, we see them all too often now. I wait for the information to sink in before carrying on. They have lost everything to heroin. Families, friends, and even homes. I don't want that happening to you. I must process the possession, but I'm only going to write you up a warning. You're damn lucky that I'm doing that. You could have ended up in jail. Have a good look at these photos and figure out another way to fight the pain. If I see you here again, you won't be so lucky. The look on Paul's face is priceless. There's a mixture of shock and relief, but I see he's looking more closely at the photos, and I feel it might make a difference. When all the paperwork is completed and signed, you'll be free to go. The only good thing to come out of the interview is that we might have saved Paul from a life of crime. Y'all, I'm sorry, my nose is just itching me like crazy. Within the hours, he's on his way with my contact details in his pocket. If temptation ever comes knocking, or if he gets any information regarding the case, he has promised to call me, and I hope I never see or hear from Paul again. Liam and I spend the next few hours looking over what we have, but nothing jumps out. Don't know about you, but everything is swimming in front of my eyes. I'm going to call it a night and spend some time with my man. Liam knows I'm gay and has never batted an eyelid. Some guys at the precinct are funny to begin with, but over the years they have learned to accept it. You've been working opposite shifts this week, so I don't blame you. Get some sleep and we'll start again tomorrow. I very much doubt you'll get that much sleep, though. He winks at me. Yep, I chuckle. See you tomorrow. 20 minutes later, I let myself into the apartment and place my keys into the bowl on the table by the entrance. I make my way to the bedroom. It's not that late, maybe after midnight, but my man will be fast asleep. Entering the bedroom, I see him lying on my side of the bed, hugging my pillow. The sight puts a smile on my face. Looks like he's been missing me. Just the sight of him has my cock growing hard, pushing uncomfortably against my zipper. I walk into the closet, remove my trousers and shirt. Leaving my boxers on, I make my way into the bedroom. I take a minute to look at his face. He's the most handsome man I've ever seen. He has a boyish face, but a distinctive jawline. He has Italian olive skin, which blends with the chocolate brown hair. If he were looking at me right now, his green eyes would be shining. I leaned down and kissed his plump pink lips. Suddenly, eyes that were closed a second ago flitter open. "Hey, baby," I whisper. "Hey, yourself. What are you doing home?" "Case hit a dead end and I missed you, so I called it a night." Something crosses his face, but before I have time to think about it, we're kissing again. His tongue licks my lips. I part my lips, and soon our tongues are dueling together as the kiss heats up. I push him to the center of the bed, removing his sleep shorts and my boxers along the way. Without breaking the kiss, I straddle him and feel his hard cock rubbing against my own. Not even thinking, I start grinding. For the briefest of moments, I stop our kiss, grab his hands, and hold them above his head, causing his eyes to shine with desire. He licks his lips in anticipation. I kiss my way down his squirming body, and when I reach his erect nipples, I take one of the hard pink buds into my mouth, sucking and scraping my teeth over it. This causes his body to arch off the bed. Just what you were waiting on, wasn't it, Vincy? Smiling at his reaction, I carry on making my way down his body, kissing his well defined abs. As I reach his rock hard cock, I let go of his hands and they instantly go into my hair. I kiss along his cock while stroking his balls with the tips of my fingers and lick the head of precum from the tip of his cock. A moan escaped his lips. I run my tongue over the head of his cock before taking it into my mouth, causing my hands in his hair to tighten. Oh gosh. I work my way up and down his cock, circling his tip now and then, causing the most delicious noises to escape from his mouth as his nails dig into my skull. Getting caught in my mouth. I pull my mouth off his cock with a pop and open his legs wider, pushing them back to expose his pink hole. Giving his cock one last lick, I open the bottle of lube from the bedside table and squeeze some into my hand and fingers until they're well covered. I slowly insert a finger, taking my time so his body has time to adjust. I pull my finger back before plunging it back in. Adding a second finger, I crook my fingers and hit his prostate. His reaction makes me smile. "Fuck me, please," he yells at me, his voice all breathy with want. "You're fucking killing me with your teasing." I chuckle, pumping my fingers again, making sure to hit his prostate. "You bastard!" I add a third finger, and after a few minutes, I pick up the lube again and cover my cock. I line myself up at his entrance and slowly push inside, pausing so his body can adjust to me before I pull out and slam back in. He screams out and arches his back off the bed. I watch as he takes hold of his cock and strokes himself. I match his rhythm, sliding in and out, angling my cock to make sure I hit his prostate on every slide back in. It doesn't take long before I feel the tingling in my balls. My orgasm isn't far away. I'm, I'm so close. Don't stop. I hear he isn't that far behind me. Speeding up, my orgasm hits me, filling him with my cum. I'm followed closely by my man, his cum shooting up his chest. I pull out of him slowly, loving the fact we stopped using condoms years ago, and collapse on top of him. Holding him tightly in my arms, I give him a quick kiss before saying, "Missed you. Missed you too." His voice is still not quite back to normal. I get very sleepy. "Good night, Watt. Love you. Love you too." I say, "Good night, Lorenzo." Boom. There you go. That's 4 chapters. And you got a sex scene in there. So there. You guys ought to be happy now. And again, this is For the Love of Flowers. It's book 1 for the Love of series by Miss Kelsey Hodge. So, I assume it's a miss. It could be a Mr. Kelsey. forget that that's one of those that can go both ways. The name can go both ways. So shut up now. Word vomit. It's a she. Okay. Normally that's the case, but there is male Kelsey, so I just wanted to. Yes, I cannot wait. All right, y'all. I gotta go in here and finish watching a ball game and see if we're gonna lose again tonight. Better not. Better not. Better not. You're so welcome, Penny. So welcome. All righty. I'm gonna get off from here. Remember, the book is on KU, and tell her I said thank you so much for letting me read it. I appreciate it. There you go. All righty. Everyone have a good evening, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye now. Happy reading.